This is Michael Popok, Legal AF, for breaking news. The Dominion Fox trial starts today in Delaware with the selection of 12 jurors and 12 alternates. This is the defamation case brought by Dominion Voting Machines against Fox News, Fox Corporation, and a number of on-air personalities, including Maria Bartiromo and Lou Dobbs, for $1.6 billion in defamation. This all goes back to Fox News putting on the air crackpots like Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani, who created out of whole cloth, out of the fevered pitch of their own mind, a conspiracy theory that never existed between Dominion, a Canadian company, Smartmatic, a U.S. company, a Venezuelan businessman who had nothing to do with any of it, an innocent bystander, and the Venezuelan government and Hugo Chavez to have corrupt software in U.S. election machines sold by Dominion and Smartmatic flip votes for Donald Trump. Sound incredible? Sound impossible? Well, you're right. In fact, some of the support for Sidney Powell's own statements on Fox News, accepted as true by Bartiromo and the other quote-unquote journalist, was a time-traveling person. I'm not making this up. This is evidence that came out already in the discovery process. A time traveler who says she used her superpowers to observe this conspiracy in Venezuela. Mind-boggling. It's already a problem for Fox and Fox News and its owner, Rupert Murdoch, because the judge is now pissed off at them. And as of yesterday, even before the jury selection, which is on Thursday, where 12 jurors and 12 alternates are going to pick in Delaware Superior Court, which is a state court, the Fox people and their lawyers are already in a deep hole. They've stepped in both buckets in front of this judge, who is sanctioning them before this trial even starts for their shenanigans and misconduct in the discovery process, which is the exchange of information prior to trial. That is mandatory in any case. It happens before there are sworn testimony, which we call depositions. And here, Fox has played fast and loose with its good faith obligations, no surprise, to provide documents. And in the last few days, just on the eve of jury selection, they have produced documents that they at one time said did not exist, including recordings of conversations between Bartiromo and Sidney Powell, which demonstrate that no credible, reasonable person could ever believe this quote-unquote Venezuelan conspiracy. Why is that important? Because Judge Davis, already before the trial even starts, has found against Fox News in 2 out of the 3 required elements for a party to prove defamation. So Dominion comes into this case, with basically, they come to the plate with bases loaded and only 1 strike against them, or no strikes against them, because of Fox. The judge has already ruled and will instruct that jury once selected. That selection will take place on Thursday. It'll be wrapped up on Friday. There'll be opening statements by the lawyers on Monday in front of that jury. This trial is up and running as of today. But they will be, once they are picked, they will be instructed by the judge about what this case is about. He'll read a statement that the lawyers, contributed to, but it's the judge's statement, and the judge will tell the jury this is a defamation case. There are 3 elements to defamation, which is falsity of statements, false statements, publication, which is I tell a third party, either in writing or orally. That's publication. It's not just for newspapers and news media. And third, damage, that the party's been damaged. And the 4th element, if you will, or 4th issue in the case, only because Fox News is claiming a First Amendment privilege as a news organization, is whether Fox News said these false things against Dominion with actual malice, a legal term, a term of art that comes from a series of cases that starts with New York Times versus Sullivan, a 1970s case of constitutional law that gives media companies protection for writing stupid, false things, as long as they don't do those stupid, false things with actual knowledge that they are stupid and false, or with reckless disregard for whether they are true or false. That is called actual malice. Every media company, newspaper, TV chain, on air, whatever, stands behind or tries to use that as the protection for them as a defense. So the judge will tell the jury, you don't have to come up with falsity, because I've already found that all the statements made by Fox and its personnel, Fox News and Fox Corp, against Dominion is false. Take that off the board. You don't have to worry about that. You are instructed to find falsity. Secondly, as to publication, the judge will tell the jury there's already been publication. Fox News and Fox Corporation, all these entities, you are to find publication. So 2 out of 3. The last thing for you, jury, to decide is the amount of damage, whether Dominion's been damaged and the amount of that damage. In other words, pull out your checkbook. As to a defense, there's really one defense left, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. That is actual malice. Here are the elements for actual malice. If you find that Fox News knew or should have known what they were putting on the air about Dominion, that I've already told you is false, was false. They knew or should have known that. You are to fine for Dominion and write the check. Draw a line and write the check. That's the case. That's what the judge is going to instruct. What's the sanction issue that you've heard about? Judge is pissed off that, and this is not a good place for you to be if you're Fox, that he feels misled on 2 major issues. One, for the last 2 years, he's asked what Rupert Murdoch's role is at Fox News. We know he owns Fox Corp, the parent company of Fox News, but he was always led to believe, because the lawyers for Fox led the judge to believe, that Rupert Murdoch, 95 years old, whatever he's doing, he has no real executive operational role at Fox News. He's really just the titular chairman, spirit animal, if you will, of Fox, but doesn't really handle the day-to-day on news. Judge took those lawyers at their word. Turns out that's not true, that there's now documents that have just been late produced, and the judge has seen them, which says that Rupert Murdoch has an operational title at Fox News. He has a chairman, an executive chairman title. And therefore, why is that important? Because the judge and the jury have to sort out liability between Corp and News. And Corp has always said, the parents always said, can't hold us liable. It's our subsidiary. It's the news entity. We didn't have any role. Well, that's not what all the emails, that's not what all the text messages say about the relationship. You got Rupert Murdoch instructing, because he's Rupert Murdoch and owns the company, his employee, the president of the news division, about what he saw on television, his television, on Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, how crazy and nuts it was, how they got to get these people off the air, how they got to make sure, this is Rupert Murdoch now, in his own testimony, they got to make sure Hannity, Carlson, and Ingraham don't follow this crazy story and put it on the air and give it too much airtime. This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your wacky neighbor or some sketchy message board. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume. And they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which helps with de-stressing and managing anxiety while breaking your habit. The first time I used Fume, I was shocked at how flavorful and fresh it tasted. It's easy to hold and perfectly balanced. Quite honestly, extremely fun to fidget with. The real wood material and sleek design definitely classes it up, and I feel pretty darn cool holding it. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use code LEGALAF to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com. Use code LEGALAF to save 10% off the Journey Pack today. So he has a role. Why is it important? Because for $1.6 billion, if you're the plaintiff and you win a judgment, you want as many big ticket, big pocket, deep pocket entities available to pay it. We know from reporting in the case that Fox News has, or Fox Corp has, about $500 million cash on hand. That's only 1/3 or less of the actual award. The jury could go above $1.6 billion. So you want as many sources to pay your judgment as possible. That's why Corp is in there, and to embarrass Rupert Murdoch, who's going to take the stand probably as early as next week. The judge feels misled and told the lawyers, you misled me about the role of Rupert Murdoch, and I got to do something about that. He didn't say what it is yet, but when a person in a black robe from their bench looks down at you as a lawyer, and I've been not on the receiving end of that, but I've watched it happen, it's not a fun place to be. That's not a place you want to stand. He also is annoyed, the judge, Eric Davis, about another issue, which is discovery, which is the exchange of information by the parties in preparation for trial. And he feels, he has ruled and found that Fox has played fast and loose with their good faith obligations in his courtroom. Particularly late disclosure, late production of things like audio tapes that just came out in the last 72 hours that should have been produced a year and a half ago or a year ago, where Bartiromo is hearing crazy stuff from Sidney Powell that no reasonable person could have ever believed was true about Dominion and the Venezuelan quote-unquote conspiracy, including a time-traveling source that any news person would have said, I'm sorry, Sidney, let me get this straight. If I have a little trick ear. Did you just say you have a time-traveling source for that piece of information? Okay, that alone puts you on notice. This is crackpot crazy stuff, mad as a hatter stuff, and you can't put it on network television, can't put it on the news, but they did. And so that came out really late in the game. And the judge said, you know what? I got a couple of problems. I want all of the lawyers for Fox to preserve, don't delete, don't destroy any of the emails internal to you, text messages about your discovery obligations and how you collected documents or didn't collect them, how you produced them to the other side or didn't produce them, and how you told me or didn't tell me or misled this court about the true role of Rupert Murdoch. It's so bad that Dominion's lawyers yesterday, this is like, less than 48 hours before they're picking a jury, asked the judge to uncouple the case, deconsolidate is the term, and have the Fox Corp case, the parent company case, go at a later time. Because their argument is, if we had gotten all of this information about the role of Rupert Murdoch over the news department, over his parent company, we would have done different things in discovery. We would have taken different depositions or asked different questions. The judge says, well, that's true, but I can sanction all of that. We're not going to have two trials because of their bad conduct. We're going to have one trial, but with me in my power as the person in the black robe, I'll sanction them. And so the judge Davis has threatened to appoint a special master. Everyone's probably going, oh, special master, like the one that was used with Donald Trump down in the Mar-a-Lago search warrant, sort of. But it's a judicial officer that's appointed by a judge. Usually it's a former judge or magistrate, could even be a current judge or magistrate, who the judge gives the power, the scope of authority to evaluate a certain defined issue and report back to the judge. So we have that. On the issues of whether what the type of the sanction is going to be, the judge, once he gets the report from the special master, can do a number of things. He's already said if there's new depositions that have to be taken during the trial, meaning we'll take a break in the trial, you guys, the lawyers, will go off with witnesses and go take more testimony before you come back to the trial. We'll tell the jury to take the day off. That's all going to be on Fox's dime. They're going to pay for all the cost of all the attorney's fees and all the redos of that issue. Hundreds of thousands of dollars could be at risk there. But that's not the major sanction power of the judge. If the judge finds through the special master's report, for instance, that they were playing hide the ball with the judge or with the other side, then he could sanction them severely, including, get this, the judge could strike Fox's pleadings, could strike their defenses, meaning he could enter a default judgment against Fox and Fox Corporation on liability, leaving only the amount of the damage left for the jury. In other words, the jury could come back one day, like the second week of trial, and the judge could say, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have a development in the case I want to apprise you of. And he takes out a piece of paper and starts reading from his instruction. Here's your instruction. I have ruled that Fox News and Fox Corporation have been defaulted and liability has been found against them by me. You are now only to consider evidence, or the evidence that you're being presented with, about the issue of how much Dominion's been damaged and what your judgment or verdict is going to be related to that. That could happen. It depends on how deep this hole is, how much Fox, through its own bad acts, has wrapped themselves around their own axle, and the judge's reaction to it. So it is possible. Some people might be thinking, well, the trial's going to start. The trial's going to start on Monday. Yeah, all bets are not off. Things go on parallel to the trial. Things go on during breaks in the trial. Things, we used to call them sidebars, where you go up to the judge. Forget sidebars. These could be full-blown evidentiary hearings, mini trials about the bad conduct of Fox. It doesn't get magically erased like an Etch-a-Sketch or a magic eraser because the trial starts. Judge has told the lawyers, I'm watching your bad conduct. I'm appointing a special master. You're going to pay the freight of all that. And if I find you did bad things, woe be you. And the woe be you is the death penalty that the judge could give in the case financially by finding against Fox and hitting them with a default because of their bad conduct. We on Legal AF, the podcast that I co-anchor on Wednesdays and Saturdays on the MeidasTouch Network, we're going to follow that, and we're going to update you on that. We do these kind of hot takes. I do hot takes like this about every day on breaking issues here also on the YouTube channel for MeidasTouch. And if you like what I'm doing, I'm Michael Popok, and you can follow me on all things social media at MS Popok. This is Michael Popok, Legal AF reporting.
Our blue wall stopped the red wave and election deniers got denied election. That's why we're celebrating with the new Democracy Prevails team. We've got lots of work to do, but we should all be proud that when democracy was tested, democracy prevailed. You've earned this. Don't wait. Get yours right now at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.